So there was an elderly minister, I mean really elderly, we're say 105, 106, and he was on his deathbed. So the two people that he called to be with him was his IRS accountant and his lawyer. And he had them sit on either side of him as he was taking his last breath. So the lawyer finally said, he said, well, I just don't understand why you would have us here and not your family. He said, because I want to die just like Jesus did between two sinners. If there's any lawyers here, I apologize. But I thought it was cute. So, my gosh. All right. Marianne Williamson said, with the holidays approaching, we will be tempted to focus on the things of the material world that have really little to do with what these holidays really mean. A mindful rather than a mindless holiday season means looking beyond the superficial and looking for the spiritual gift that lays inside. So you're thinking, oh, it's so early for the holiday season. Yes, it is, and it's not. Because everything now is scaring. If you walk into any of the stores, there's holiday decorations, Christmas decorations. So why not plan this year to do a little things differently? You know, so often by January 1st, I hear people say, oh, thank God it's over. And we can, you know, I had a student one time come up to me and say, Reverend Barbara, you talk about we're creators. She said, I'm not a creator. I can't paint. I'm not a singer, a pianist. She said, I'm just not a creator. And I said, oh, but you are. Each and every one of us are a creator because every single day we are given a clean slate, a beautiful, a canvas with all of these colors. And we can paint it any way we want. And we really can do that hour by hour. Are we going to take black and paint the whole day black? Because I don't know about you, but maybe sometime in my early life I just kind of felt that way. Or we can paint it with the most beautiful colors of joy and happiness and potential, whatever that means to us, the rainbow of colors that are ours by divine birthright. We are creators because each and every day we create our lives. So how are we going to create this holiday season? We have 59 days from the 2nd to the 31st. Josh, in the book of Josh, the Old Testament, he says, choose ye this day whom you will serve. But for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord. So what would that look like for you if we kept that in mind? Who am I going to choose to serve today? Am I going to serve anger and fear and, oh God, no, they're not coming to Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, Or we can say, thank God that I'm alive. I've got another holiday season. I get to be with people that are my greatest teachers, because aren't our families our greatest teachers in many ways? We love them dearly, always, but they are our greatest teachers. So who will we serve this holiday season? We can choose ease and grace, or on January 2nd, as I said, we can say, thank God, it's over. Charles Fillmore said, who was the co-founder of Unity, he said, let the God within you express itself through you in the world without. And we have, each one of us, our own world. We may not have the world Oprah Winfrey has, but we have our corner of the world. That's what we came in here for. We all chose to be in here. And whether we like it or not, we chose the people we're here for. And some of us think, oh my gosh, did I choose you, really? And we did. And we are here then to love them. Jesus loved everyone, didn't he? He didn't care what their background was. He loves them. And that's how he healed them. So if we ask ourselves, Reverend Michael Beckwith started Agape with a visioning process. And it built Agape. And one of the he does this visioning for every single ministry. They do it, well, they used to do it every day, but they do it every week, always. And one of the things that visioning did for him when he was at the Sheraton Hotel. He started in his home with 4 or 5 people. They moved to the Sheraton Hotel. They outgrew it, and they needed a place to build a church, or to rent a church, really, because LA trying to build a church was tough for a new ministry because of their cost. So they looked and they looked and they couldn't find anything that would fit in their budget, the size of it, but they continued to vision and vision. And in the visioning process, you get to see what comes through. It's not visualizing. So if you're visioning and something comes through about buying your turkey, be sure to get it at Whole Foods. That's not what we're talking about for visioning. We want to take it upstairs this year. How high can we go? How high can we fly this holiday season that we bring joy, that we bring light, that we bring blessings to every single person, even if we have to grit our teeth through it, we do it, and we come back into this person is in my life for a reason. Marianne Williams says a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? So we get to leave. Have you ever watched, and maybe you've experienced it, because I lived on the coast for a long time, when a shark or a turtle would get caught in a net? Have you ever seen that on TV? And they're all wrapped up in a net, and someone will come along and cut the net and let them go free. They go back into the water, and you can almost see the joy of them being free. Well, we all have nets that catch us, don't we? So what we want to do is recognize the nets that keep us small, that keep us locked in, and release those nets, cut them loose, so we are free this holiday season. We are free to truly enjoy, be in joy this holiday season, and not to be so rushed or to think, oh no, they're not coming. Whatever the thought is, we get to leave our nets. Joel Goldsmith wrote a beautiful book. It was a great metaphysician called Leave Your Nets. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave all of that doesn't serve us behind. We're cutting the net, and we are going free. Free to be who and what we really are, which is the expression of God as God moves through us. Because we have given an okay from God knows when, maybe the beginning of time, that we would be here now, to be here for a vessel for God to express its love, its light, its joy, as only we can do it. And if we don't do it, who's going to do it? I think Ronald Reagan, when the wall was coming down in East Berlin, what did he say? If not me, who? And if not now, when? So it's time. It's time to let go of all of the things that may keep us bound this holiday season. All of the judgments, all of the unforgiveness, all of the hurry and getting ourselves so exhausted. We're going to fly this holiday season. We're going to make it easy and effortless, because one of God's qualities is grace. Grace and ease. That's what we're going to call on. You know, when people make New Year's resolutions, I'm watching my time, make New Year's resolutions on New Year's Eve or whenever, 1st of January. By February, they've forgotten it. Have you ever done that? Now, what was it and you know why? Because they aren't anchored in spiritual substance. Because if we do it by ourselves, we forget, we move on. But if it's something anchored in spirit, like I'm going to lose weight because I will be a better vehicle for God to work through this body, that brings it to a different level. And that's what each of us are called to do, to bring it upstairs into a different awareness. We get to be the light this holiday season. So let me just say, and something Einstein said too, the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again. Anybody can relate to that? Doing the same thing. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? Am I truly insane? I mean, but that is the definition. We think it'll be different, and yet nothing's different because we haven't changed. We haven't made the leap into Barbara as a human being or Barbara as the spiritual being. And what can I do this holiday season to lift the world? Jesus said in Matthew, ye are the light of the world. So let's let that light shine, no matter what. You know, if it's a small slight, let it go. What difference does it make? We are here to be upstairs. And you know, from downstairs, we see a very limited view when we look out the window. We just see so much. When we go upstairs, the view is entirely different. We get to see the most beautiful scenery. So we want to go upstairs where we really see the light. We see the good. We see a whole picture and not just someone's behavior when it is only behavior because it's not who they are. So one of the questions, I didn't finish the story about Reverend Michael, so let me just finish that. So they kept visioning, and part of the visioning is then they would write down what they saw. And some of them were artistic, and they would draw what they saw. So after months of doing this, what they found is many of those that were visioning were drawing the exact same tree, which was interesting. So one Saturday, they were out looking all over for a church that they could afford that was big enough. And they drove into their campus, into the building on Olympic. I still get the chills. And there was the tree, the exact same tree that they had been drawn. So, you know, that's how God works. It's miraculous. Out of the blue, out of nothing, God makes everything. So the first question that comes with visioning, we won't take a long time with it, but it might be something you ask yourselves, because I know I'm going to do that really faithfully this holiday season. Instead of saying, what is my idea of this holiday season, we might take it upstairs and say, what is God's idea of my holiday season? What would God's idea be? Or the grand operational design. What would that be? What would that look like? What might it feel like? Isn't that an interesting question? What would it look like if I was in that high spiritual level and asked God to reveal through you? And when we ask for something, it's always in language we can understand. Because often something comes through and we don't understand exactly. So we ask it for language we can understand. And then if nothing comes through when we ask, then be on the, we need to be, so to speak, watchdogs. Because when we ask, we will receive. Ask and you shall receive. We'll take down a book and the exact word or the exact phrase, exactly what we needed will be there. We'll see a bulletin board, and the one word that sticks out is the one word that we need. So what would God's idea of my holiday season look like? And what would I need to do to make this the best holiday season? One of the questions might be, what must I release? Now that's a good question, isn't it? Oh, well, I have nothing to release, it's them. No, let's bring it home, because it all starts here, doesn't it? What would I need to release? Maybe I would need to release judgment. What a concept. Maybe there is somebody I would need to forgive. We hear these fantastic stories that the universe truly presents to us that are so out of the out of the human realm, so to speak. It's hard to believe. But it's like the universe saying to us, listen closely, because if they can do something this huge, you can forgive someone for a slight. You can forgive someone. Years ago, I had a friend, I hadn't spoken to her sister in 10 years. Their grandmother died. They met at the wake for the first time in 10 years. And of course, the kids had all grown up. They could not remember what the fight was. And they had not spoken in 10 years because of something they even forgot why. So forgiveness. This is a story, it's a true story. There was a man by the name of Tariq Kamisma. He was a young man delivering pizza. He was working his way through college. This was in San Diego. And he was killed, shot to death at the door by a 14-year-old boy named Tony Hicks during the robbery, because he was robbing him. And he was the only child of both. And the grandfather was raising the boy that was killed, and the father, the boy that pulled the trigger. But in a remarkable turn of events, Tariq's father, Azim Kamisma, chose to forgive Hicks, and later he became a mentor to this boy while he was in jail. And the grandfather supported their efforts to prevent youth violence through the Tariq Kamisma Foundation. Now, they go all over the United States together. Two different cultures, both lost their only son, grandson and son, and they talk about youth violence. They've started this foundation. So if people like that can forgive, isn't that what we're called to do with slights, or someone interrupted us? Oh my gosh, that can spiral us. So remember, Jesus said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. People really are so involved that they don't know what they do half the time. And if they do, it's okay to forgive them too, because forgiveness is about us. What did Gandhi say? It's like holding a coal in your hand, unforgiveness, meaning to throw it. But in the meantime, it is seared into your hand and you can't get rid of it. So if we ask that, and then again, what qualities would I have to embrace to make this the best holiday season possible? And God speaks, or the universe speaks, in qualities. Again, it's not going to talk about where you buy your turkey. God speaks in qualities. What would I have to release? My own judgment, my own pride, my own expectations of things that aren't going to happen regardless. And I know it, but I'm still going to expect it. We can change these holiday seasons into something so beautiful. What is God's idea of my holiday season? Ask it again and again. And imagine what it might look like. What if the quality we get is peace? Then imagine what peace would look like for all of your holiday seasons. When we get impatient, we think, nope, patience is what I'm doing this holiday season. We get to talk to ourselves. We get to uplift. We want to be in that upstairs awareness. Frantic hurriedness is another one. We exhaust ourselves. Don't do it this year. It's not worth it. It takes us down where we want to be up. And then imagine, Einstein said, imagine is more important than knowledge. Now think of that statement. Imagination, we can think all we want, but if we can't imagine how it will look, it's for nothing. We've got to get that picture. Myrtle Fillmore talks about this, that it's the feeling tone within us that makes the difference. We have to feel it. We can talk all we want, but if we do not feel it, it's of no good. It has to be within us. Everything starts within us. And I'd like to tell a little story about my niece, Mackenzie. This was a few years ago in Palm Springs. She was living, and she was a senior, but she was 16. She was ahead of herself. And she had a boyfriend, and they were going to prom together. It was a big deal, the dresses. And he was walking across the street the night before prom, and a car turned the corner, full speed, hit him, and just kept driving. Well, by the time they found him, of course, he was almost basically dead. So they called an air ambulance immediately. They picked him up, and from Palm Springs, they took him to USC, which is the big burn center in LA. And they gave him a 99% chance that he was not going to make it. His bones were crushed, his brain. It was horrific injuries. And so my granddaughter, he was intensive care. He went through all kinds of surgeries. And my brother and his husband are absolute angels. And Mackenzie kept saying, I've got to go visit him. I've got to go visit him. So finally, they went. A big drive, by the way. And they went, And they said, well, you can't go in because number one, you're 16, and number two, he's in intensive care. Well, she begged, and finally the surgeon said, you can have 5 minutes. Well, what they found is when she went in there, all of his vitals stabilized. They were better than they had been. So the doctor said, I'd like you to come back because this is the best we have seen him. And she said, oh, here I go with the chills again. And she said to the doctor, I feel it in my bones that he's going to be okay. And she kept saying that. And Barbara, I feel in my bones. I don't care what they're saying. I feel it in my bones. He's going to be okay. Well, guess what? He missed a year of school, but he was okay. And now he graduated from college and is working. But she felt it so strongly that he felt it when she walked into that room because all of his vitals stabilized to the best they could, better than what the doctors were doing it. So we want to feel it in our bones. This is going to be the best holiday season because we are going to be the best we can. We stay upstairs. Who are we here for? We are here for the presence and the grace and the love of God to flow through us to others, because if we don't, who will? What is God's idea of it? What do I need to release? What do I need to embrace? And then feel it, imagine it, and give such thanks every single day. This is a beautiful season. Who knows? It could be a season where we have 15 more. It could be our last season. But whatever season it is in our life, let's make it the best season ever. God bless you. God bless you. God bless us all. And so it is.